India's scripted history by soft landing nearer the south pole of the moon, a point which I now call Chandrayaan-3. Behind me is a 1:1 model of the Vikram lander and the Pragyan rover. And I have India's moon stars. Shiva Shakti, Vera Muthuvel, Kalpana and Shrikant, the mission director, if I can say, Shiva Shakti and Nataraj, because the Tandav Nritya is the cosmic dance, and essentially if Chandrayaan-3 was dancing around between Earth and the moon and then landing, it was through the hands of Shrikant. That's why Shiva Shakti and Nataraj. To the team, one simple question, and I'll hand over the mic one by one to you. Mr. Veeramuthuvel, you were involved with Chandrayaan-2 and also with Chandrayaan-3. You scripted history. How did you convert those 20 minutes of terror into 20 minutes of joy? And how many hours a day did you work in these last almost 4 or 5 years or maybe longer from Chandrayaan-2?
Chandrayaan-2, as you told, it was a big success except for this power descent phase where this 20 minutes it did not go well. But we initially understood what was the problem, and we overcome that problem by identifying the root cause of the issue, and based on that we have set up what needs to be corrected both in hardware and software. That was our first step in Chandrayaan-3. The second step is conceptualizing and conducting the series of tests, what are the tests we could not do in Chandrayaan-2. That is called a field test, like integrated cold test, wherein we carried all the sensors and navigation systems. We flew in the helicopter and conducted a series of tests to evaluate the sensors and navigations in Chitradurga, where we created artificial craters and boulders. The second test was integrated hot test, wherein all the sensors, absolute sensors, hazard detection and avoidance sensors, inertial sensors, we have put in closed loop with propulsion system, navigation, guidance and control. That was the second major test, wherein we conducted dry run, static test and dynamic test. The third one was the lander-like mechanism performance test, wherein we conducted a series of tests again to evaluate touchstone conditions like combination of horizontal and vertical velocities, slopey surface, flat terrain, hard surface, soft surface. We created a lunar soil simulant test bed. So these were the tests we conducted thoroughly. In the beginning, we conceptualized and conducted the test over the time. Then
How did you, from Sriharikota to Shiva Shakti, it was a precision route. There is no Navik, there is no GPS. How did you manage such a very critically close landing as you had envisaged?
So this is very important because this time we knew that that the target point. In fact, Chandrayaan-2 also we had a similar target point. This target point we have chosen in such a way that it is of scientific interest as well as we have to meet the engineering constraints also. So we built multiple mission paths this time. In fact, in Chandrayaan-2 we had 2 paths, nominal and contingency path. This time we created multiple paths so that anything happens, we wanted a soft landing. That was our target. So we built a path like a real-time retargeting in addition to nominal and contingency path. Sometimes if no altimeter update comes, as you rightly told, there is no GPS in moon. So we have to have a relative terrain relative navigation sensors, for which we have altimeters, we have velocity sensors which will give position and velocity information, and we have hazard detection and avoidance. At the end of it, we have to avoid the obstacles to have a soft landing.
Did you sleep in these 4 years or did you spend all your time in the satellite center?
To be honest, we are going to the second time. So not only me, the entire team was on our toes. Like right from the project approval till the launch stage, including the COVID time was utilized by reviewing various systems. Like we have a strong review mechanism right from configuration stage, design stage and realization stage. At various stages the reviews also plays a major role. So we utilized even the COVID time for reviewing the systems. To be frank with you, that our entire team as we were on toes to conduct this test, and there were so many issues in the beginning while conducting the test, and again we put a retrofit activities, and finally we have successfully completed the test, for which one after other test we have to do. So continuous work was there till landing.
Now, Kalpana ji, you were the associate project director for Vikram, Pragyan, Chandrayaan-3. What were the biggest challenges and how did you overcome them?
So this biggest challenge, what I would say is, the scale of the project itself is very high. It's a mammoth project and there is a lot of multitasking involved. And myself as associate project director along with project director, we play a pivotal role in bridging all the teams together. The team is a very big team because many deputy project directors, project
How many
managers.
people were involved totally?
It's like hundreds of people. See, along with the project director, associate project director, we have around some 32 deputy project directors, hundreds of project managers, and also many system engineers working along with them to support the project. So we have to handle this big team, and also the tasks wise, it is a technical challenges which already he has detailed, and also managerially we have to ensure that all the activities are happening in sync. One side there is a flight hardwares coming up in the clean room, there is special tests are happening at the fields, and also good amount of exhaustive simulations has to happen because everything cannot be done through tests. So very good amount of simulations have to happen, like different platforms were developed, 6-TOF, oil, sills, hardware simulator, different test beds were developed. So all this should be happening in sync, and good interactions should be happening among the teams. So the data flow should be very good. Schedule is also equally important. So all these aspects, multitasking and working towards one common goal of completing soft landing. So we have to work as a team together and achieve all the objectives. So this
Now,
was...
when you talk of multitasking, I cannot not but ask you, and that's a question to Veera Muthuvel and Srikanth also, how did you manage work and home life? It is very complex. And it is long hours and your smiling face was always there, I have seen.
Yes, sir. Definitely this calls for a lot of work-life balance because the project is such. So because we are working towards a goal, we want to finish the unfinished. Every team member's mindset is towards that. So work comes, the priority if you ask, work was first for the team. And definitely work-life balance was getting balanced. Family was a good support structure. Management was supporting us a lot in all aspects. So we had to balance between both, and whenever work demanded, that was our priority. With a good amount of balance, we could manage this mission, but definitely work project was a priority.
You embodied Nari Shakti for India and in Chandrayaan-3? Yes or no? I am calling you Shiva and Shakti. So
We did what is required.
you did what is required. See, that is the beauty. In ISRO, men and women work shoulder to shoulder. Only talent matters. And one of the most talented people for mission objectives, we have Mr. Srikanth, whom I call the Nataraj because the Tandav Nritya or the cosmic dance is what was really performed, the dance between Earth, Moon, Chandrayaan-3, Vikram, Pragyan. All of that was rightfully being controlled by Mr. Srikanth. How difficult was the controlling the spacecraft as it was from Sriharikota all the way to Shiva Shakti?
Sir, when you say this satellite, as a single satellite has three elements. One is propulsion module, one is lander module, one is rover module. All three in each, they are unique and have its own requirements and a combined requirements and contradicting each other also. So all these things has to be balanced, and the operations has to be carried out pre-planned a priori before liftoff onwards. After injection, the whole composite control has to be done by propulsion module, and propulsion module has its own requirements for meeting the spacecraft objectives. and at the same time we need to do the lander calibration along with the propulsion module thing, and this phase of composite will continue in earthbound phase as well as in moonbound phase. Then once lander gets separated, lander has its own requirements as is lander standalone. It has to be operated for the mission objective of landing, the 20 minutes. For that, what are major required sensors and our navigation related cameras and our near real-time data download, transmission chain, all these things needs to be tested in that 6 days when lander alone it is up there. So we have before the 20 minutes these were subjected for the actual usage. All these things were pre-calibrated, pre-assessment was carried out in the 6 days. Then during these 20 minutes all of the systems have behaved or performed as per expectation. We have pinpointed landing, and after landing we had a rover Pragyan which has to come out of the lander and do the mobility over the moon surface. And rover itself is a unique thing because till now we don't have any experience of rover mobility on any celestial body. So that operations itself is a unique thing. So we need to handle it in a semi-autonomous way, near real-time planning. So our whole teams which have worked for propulsion module, lander module, rover, all of us together had only one objective, that every objective for each phase is met full-fledgedly, and rover has also moved 100 meters in that 14 days, which is also one of the important milestones which we have met. So all put together, all these three entities are challenging in each thing.
So you were making Veeramuthuvel and Kalpana, the Shiva and Shakti, dance to your requirements as you were conducting the orbital parameters between Earth and Moon and Chandrayaan?
Yes, see, actually the point is when we need to do the orbit, because we don't have any GPS, so we need to depend on our orbit determination for the where the actual satellite is. So that for that our flight dynamics team along with other navigation team from we had JPL navigation, all put together we have done the where the satellite precisely is in position determination, as well as the sensors which are used for actual control were calibrated, and we had good orientation control also. That is how we have made the satellite to dance as per the requirements from our side.
So that was the dream team for all the moon stars of India, Shiva, Shakti and Nataraj, as I call them. They don't call that. But the team which made history for India by landing, soft landing nearer the south pole of the moon, and we have a life-size model of Pragyan right here and Vikram right behind us, the same thing which Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a look at, and the same size sits at the Shiva Shakti point in the lunar surface. India's celestial moon dance with camera person Kumar inside the ISRO satellite facility in Bangalore, Pallav, Bagla.